So, folks, the Ben Burgis saga has a new chapter. Now, I need to be very careful with how I construct this because, Ben Burgis and I have a history, apparently. And even though I was under the impression when we had our conversation and he accepted my apology, I was under the impression that we're on good terms. He followed me on Twitter. I was under an impression we were on good terms. That impression was apparently incorrect. So Ben Burgis went on Mark Monkey's program a couple of days ago. Also, I was on Mark Monkey's program a couple of weeks ago. Go check that out first. Then go check out Ben Burgis' appearance on Mark Monkey's program. But anyway, I compiled a Twitter thread. Mark Monkey asked Ben Burgis about me, specifically. And it's very interesting. So I'm going to read. I made this thread here. Ben Burgis responded to the thread. Spoiler alert. And his response was interesting. I'm going to respond to that. Now again, first of all, hello Ben. If you're watching this, I hope that the title was not too inflammatory. I hope so. And I hope that you have watched more than 30 seconds. I hope. I don't think I used any swear words yet. Maybe I'll be allowed to monetize this because I didn't swear in the first 30 seconds. I'm open to having these conversations if you want. It might be a difficult conversation, maybe, but our last conversation wasn't that difficult. I don't know. But anyway, let me play this first clip. After defending Dave Chappelle's transphobic comedy special for 30 minutes, Ben Burgis then lambasts another comedian, me, for using vulgar language in a piece about him, ultimately saying he doesn't engage in the critique due to the words used. Now, you can go watch. I did not clip this part, right? But you can go watch Mark Monkey talk to Ben Burgis. Their first topic was cancel culture. And Ben Burgis literally said that Dave Chappelle saying he's Team TERF, that's not transphobic, because it was part of like an hour-long build-up. There was 30 minutes of build-up. It was part of a story. He was telling a story. And so when you take that out of context, you didn't get the whole story. And so that's why Dave Chappelle is not transphobic. I disagree with that. Right? But that was his argument on Dave Chappelle. But for me, he will hear an out-of-context clip, get mad, and then not watch the whole thing, and then lie about what I said, or lie about that I'm calling him certain things that I'm not. So anyway, I'm going to play the clip because he goes, this is entertaining. So let's watch.
Would be somebody more studied in it and watch the special. Someone like Andrea would probably be someone better to talk to. I know. But she does really want to talk.
I mean, just since you brought her up, let me just say real quick, right? My history with Andrea is she, over the summer, she denounced me in the most over-the-top, ugly way that you could, right? That they have.
Again, 30 minutes saying that what Dave Chappelle said, calling his supposed trans friend, quote, the best, father or something that someone could ask for, dead naming, misgendering his supposed trans friend. I'm sorry, personally, as a trans person, I don't find that joke, I just don't find that acceptable at all, under any context. Certainly not the context of the special. So okay, but that's fine, because it was 30 minutes as part of a story. He was building a story. Dave Chappelle was talking about a story. Me, I called him, quote, dumb as a shit fuck. Now, maybe that was a little too colorful. I'm willing to accept that criticism. Again, I apologized for it, and we had a conversation. He eventually did come on my show. I thought we were good. Maybe I'm too autistic to, participate in this kind of, social exchange. But I literally thought I apologized, him accepting the apology, and him coming on my show meant that we were good. Maybe I'm stupid, but okay.
I think I watched the first 2 minutes of the video, and there's lots of, dumb as a shit fuck, cringe to her, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, okay, that's very unpleasant. And so I ended up saying no to the invitation to talk. And then months later, we, she did apologize for saying those things. And since I'm somebody
that's just kind of online content creation, to be honest with you. Like,
okay,
I tried to avoid that.
It's not my kind of online content creation. And it's not the online.
Yeah.
It's not the style of online content creation that any online content creator that I have respect for uses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll just say that, right?
Well, first of all, that's not true. Like, the Majority Report uses offensive over-the-top humor. I mean, the Michael Brooks show, like Michael Brooks, I'm just saying, right, I love the Michael Brooks show. I loved how he would make fun of people and just rip into them, right? It was great. I loved it. I love offensive humor. I love swearing. It's just, I don't know. Like, those are two examples that, unless he doesn't respect those shows or programs, because that's how I found Ben Burgis, right? So I found Ben Burgis thinking, like, oh, this guy's cool with making fun of people and swearing at people. You know, that's what I do, right? So, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's a weird thing.
I don't say stuff like that. None of the people I watch say stuff like that. I'm not saying there aren't lots of people who do, but I don't, and I wouldn't. And, like, even people who I genuinely hate, like, people who I genuinely deeply despise, I still wouldn't talk about them that way. So,
I mean, like, what is this? Like, again, quote, dumb as a shit fuck, comma, cringe tour? Like, how is, like, I'm sorry. Like, first of all, I already apologized for that. And if you watch my videos that I made about him after my apology, I specifically avoided calling him names because I apologized and I wanted him, you know, to understand that. Like, I don't, but also, I'm going to be honest, this idea that, like, calling someone, quote, dumb as a shit fuck is somehow, like, that is somehow, like, again, 30 minutes of saying Dave Chappelle's not transphobic because he was telling a story, right? He's not transphobic. He was telling a story. You have to watch the whole special. You need all the context. You took him out of context. But him watching me for 2 minutes, even after I apologized, still saying that it's, like, despicable language. I mean, come on, man. This is so conservative. This is so pearl clutching. I'm sorry, Ben. I just, please, like, I thought we were behind it, but okay.
all I could say is that that's just a very different sensibility. When somebody says, "Oh, I don't even dislike you. I just said all those things," right?
Like I don't know. Maybe Ben Burgis doesn't joke around with his friends, but I have friends. Sometimes I call my friends stupid motherfuckers. Like, I don't know. Someone drops a glass and it breaks. Oh, you stupid motherfucker. Would Ben Burgis go like, oh, I wouldn't even say that against my worst enemies? Like, I don't know, man. Like, now, maybe you can make the argument that Ben Burgis and I do not know each other, so maybe I should have been a little bit. But I swear a lot. I say that about anything. Maybe I shouldn't. You know, maybe you can make that argument. I don't know. But I apologized. He accepted my apology. We had a conversation. I thought we were good. But now he's apparently still offended by this.
It's like, well, okay, we're living in two different universes here. But she eventually, like months later, she and her fans kept pushing, you should have a discussion. You could have a discussion of, and I kind of said, well, I don't, all this left a bad taste in my mouth and I don't really feel like it. Eventually she apologized for it. We had a discussion, which I thought was a good discussion. Again, I almost always take almost every invitation to talk to somebody.
Which I appreciate.
We had what I thought was a good discussion. And then after the Rogan appearance, I mean, I'm not going to watch it based on my previous experience watching her.
1 second.
Her other video, the previous video about me that I've watched, but just based on the title of it, it seemed like it was even worse than the.
Now, timeline here. Let's look at the timeline. So, I call him dumb as a shit fuck? Which, to me, that didn't even register as offensive. Right? Like, I don't know. But I apologized for it, and we had a good conversation. So wouldn't that, like, again, because I'm autistic, maybe I just didn't read the social cues. I don't know. I thought that meant we were good. But so he's saying that after I apologized, because I made another critique of him, that undoes the apology and he's not even going to watch the video? Like, Like, so he's not going to watch the critique because of something I said about him that I apologized for, that he accepted the apology for. Like, I just, like, what? Like, that's just such a weird thing to say. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. And it's hypocritical because, again, Dave Chappelle's not transphobic. Didn't you watch his whole special? Didn't you watch his special? He's not transphobic. Oh, you have to watch the whole thing. It's 30 minutes. It was part of a huge story. He was telling a story. You have to watch the whole thing. You can't take him out of context. He is fine with taking me out of context, though, and canceling every other video I've ever done because of one thing I said about him that I apologized for, that he accepted the apology for. But anyway, that's just part one. So then my thread goes on. Then he says he didn't watch any of my critique of his Joe Rogan appearance even after I apologized. And you can watch my later videos to see I did use less swearing because I did not intend to offend him so deeply. However, very curiously, he followed me. So after I criticized his Joe Rogan appearance, apparently, according to him, he did not watch any of my criticisms, but he followed me. Hey, as an autistic person, you're sending me mixed messages here, man. This is some, hey, I'm making a joke here for reference. Joke alert. This is ableist. To say you accept someone's apology and then do this stuff, man, that's ableist. I'm just saying. Obviously, I'm joking. So, now, I'm being cheeky here. Cisgender man, Ben Burgis, then claims that transgender woman, Andrea Rovenski, is somehow less aware of transphobic conspiracies that he, after spending half an hour defending Dave Chappelle, knows more about the subject, finding it impossible he made any mistakes. So this clip here, I think, is a little revealing of his kind of opinion on trans issues. Like, he thinks he's nailed the trans debate and that his opinions are perfect. And that even trans people criticizing him don't matter. Now, I would love to have this conversation with Ben Burgis. If he doesn't want to have it, I'm down to have the conversation about Andy No. I'm down to have any conversation about it. I'm down to talk about, like, fucking football. I don't know anything about football. If Ben wants to come on my show again, let's talk about dogs, I'm down, okay? But this is a bizarre clip.
Like, it was even worse than the one before.
I watched it on stream, and, of course, there's
the title said promoted transphobic conspiracy theories, and if you believe that, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. Like, if you believe...
So, the title, right, was like, he went on the Joe Rogan show and engaged in transphobic conspiracy theories. Because Joe Rogan was giving off transphobic conspiracy theories. And Ben Burgis, in my opinion, as a trans person, kind of let him just say it and move on. Now, Ben Burgis, like, if he doesn't want to talk about it because he's not an expert, that's okay. But he did objectively have Joe Rogan say a bunch of really transphobic stuff and didn't really counter it. So to me, he was there and I criticized it. But now he's saying that, again, a video he didn't watch. He did not watch this video. Right? He is saying that, like, I'm an idiot for potentially having an opinion that he made up in his head. He made up this opinion in his head. This is fantasy. This is fan fiction. That I'm like I'm attacking him and calling him a transphobe. I never called him a transphobe. I said he was on a show that was engaging in transphobic conspiracies. And my critique was that here's how you should have handled it. In my opinion, here's why I, as a trans person, am offended by this, and he's calling that critique stupid. I would have to be an idiot to have made this critique. Except he didn't even watch the critique. So again, he's making up a boogeyman in his head, calling that boogeyman stupid and idiotic, and applying that to me, and it's not even like what I said. It's not even like, but okay.
I believe that I would ever in a million years promote a transphobic conspiracy theory. And first of all, I don't believe that you believe that. I don't believe that anybody believes that, because I believe that anybody...
I would suggest watching the video. Personally, I would suggest watching the video. Before commenting... Again, Ben Burgis said you can't comment on Dave Chappelle's comedy special unless you watch the whole thing. I would say you can't comment on my video unless you watch at least maybe 1 second of it. Maybe. Like, I'm just saying.
Who's ever read, watched, or heard 30 seconds of me in any context would know better than that.
I mean, I think there's a difference there, because I think there's a lot of times when people don't recognize that they might have like a slight spot, a blind spot for certain topics, And
okay, but there's a
line.
galaxy of difference between you have a slight blind spot for this topic and you're promoting transphobic conspiracy theories.
Yes.
So again, not only, right? I don't think I used the word promoted. I think I used the word engaged in, and in the sense that Joe Rogan engaged in transphobic conspiracies and that Ben Burgis did not counter them. But again, he did not watch the video. So he's creating like a fictitious narrative that's not really based in reality, and arguing with that, again, which is hypocritical considering in this very same interview with Mark Monkey, he spent 30 minutes saying, Dave Chappelle, you got to watch the whole special, otherwise you're taking him out of context. Take him out of context. Like pulling a Sam Harris. Now, am I saying that Ben Burgis and Sam Harris are the same person? I'm making a joke. I'm making a comparison. Sam Harris loves to say, you took me out of context. Ben Burgis apparently, you took Dave Chappelle out of context. You can't criticize Dave Chappelle unless you've seen his whole special. Yet, he's criticizing me without seeing anything that I said. So
of course. But I mean, again, we're talking about online content creation. And I watched that video, and I thought there was a lot...
That's a kind of online content creation I just don't want anything to do with. Like,
I just want to be very clear. Like, I'm not trying to do this as any form of, like, rude or evil. I discovered Ben Burgis from the Michael Brooks show. That's how I found out that he exists on this planet alongside me and other people. That show used a lot of offensive humor. That's why I liked it so much. Huge fan. Rest in peace. A lot of offensive humor. So just the idea that he doesn't engage in any online creators or like talk to any online creators that use offensive humor, I think I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's weird.
Anytime somebody says, online content creation just means you're going to say things like this, it's like, well, again, it's not my kind of online content creation. It's not the kind of online content creation of anybody who I have anything to do with, anybody who watch, anybody who I normally interact with, right?
It's not true.
Like, if those are the rules of that world, that doesn't sound like a world I want to have anything to do with.
So he's made up this again, it's fictitious boogeyman that, like, I am some, like, deeply offensive and evil person because I called him dumb as a shit fuck. Like, again, honestly, I can't even see how that's offensive. What is a shit fuck? A shit fuck is nothing. So if you're dumb as a shit fuck, you're not dumb as anything because it's nothing.
It's marketing. It's one of those things that it really does suck. But when I watched it, I thought there were a lot of really good critiques of it. There were a lot of fact checks that were really well made. Receipts brought. So am
I saying I'm perfect? No. But Mark Monkey is. No.
She would definitely be the one that I would have that conversation with.
Okay,
because my concentration wants to be.
It is right now unlikely because, like, I spent 6 months not having a conversation with her because I thought that the things that she said were so.
Again, why is he dredging up this old shit? Like, if someone apologizes to me, and I say it's water under the bridge, it's all good, and then we have, like, a conversation about it, I'm not going to, like, 6 months later say, oh, yeah, they apologized to me, but, like, now I don't accept the apology anymore. What? Like, I just, like, what? And also, again, he didn't even watch the video. He's, like, spending several minutes attacking me when he did not even watch the fucking video. He is making up some fan fiction about me, and to be honest, I am personally offended. He has called me an idiot because I believe something I never said.
So ugly and over the top and unfair.
I would say ugly and over the top and unfair is lying about someone, making things up, and admitting that you didn't even watch the video, but still going on to make things up, and then saying that the apology that I thought you accepted is retroactively unaccepted. I would say that that's a little ugly and over the top, personally.
And then, like...
But you did wind up having a conversation.
I did wind up having a conversation because she apologized for that.
So again, Mark Monkey is basically, again, like, yeah, but why are you bringing this up? Because you You had the conversation about it, January 6th. Go watch it. She apologized. Why are you spending 5 minutes talking about this thing that is old news?
And then, like, it just seems like now...
Anyway, you can watch my original video explaining why I thought he didn't handle Joe Rogan's conspiracy theories well here. I personally think it's a weird thing to say that he assumes it's garbage when he didn't even watch it, even though he followed me. So, Ben Burgis goes on Joe Rogan's podcast and engages in horrible transphobic conspiracy theories is the original name of the video. But because of his sensibilities, I changed the video title. Here you can see. I'm going to be sad. Ben Burgis goes on Joe Rogan's podcast, fails to counter gross transphobic conspiracy theories, to make it clear that my opinion on this was that he did not go far enough, right, in going against these conspiracy theories. Maybe my title could have been better, but I mean, honestly, this is a little ridiculous, okay? Side note, also he really seems to dislike swearing and offensive humor, oddly considering I discovered him via TMBS, which consistently used offensive humor to get points across. Rest in power, by the way. For some reason, with no evidence whatsoever, Ben Burgis, account linked here, I'm being a little silly, has convinced himself my critiques are worse than ever before, without even watching them, going as far as to say my videos call him despicable. So this is another really bizarre one. And again, I just don't get this.
Because she apologized for that. And then, like, it just seems like now, it could be that she made the most brilliant and insightful points ever in the midst of it, right? But if it's going to be the same thing, but even more so.
So note the language here. If. It could be. So what he's doing is baking in the real world into his critique. It could be that I'm making all this up. And if I weren't making this up, we could have a good conversation. Well, how about you, but he didn't watch the video. He didn't watch the video. He doesn't know what he's talking. And again, as a trans person, I find it, I will say, I think it is a little transphobic. A little. Am I saying you're a transphobe? No. But this is definitely something I think that you're very bad at articulating, at the very least. To go on a 30-minute defense tour of Dave Chappelle, saying you gotta watch the whole special. He's creating a story. It's a story. He's creating a story. You can't take him out of context. It's a story. Did you watch the first chapter of the story? To someone whose jokes revolve around misgendering and dead naming someone who committed suicide, by the way. In my opinion, you shouldn't be joking about them at all, let alone calling them a man after they killed themselves. I think that's disgusting, whether or not there's a story involved. But okay. But again, to say that I'm evil or I'm despicable or that I call him things I didn't say, what the fuck?
Because she apologized for that. And then, like, it just seems like now, it could be that she made the most brilliant and insightful points ever in the midst of it, right? But if it's going to be the same thing, but even more so, right?
If it's going to be the same thing, but even more so, but it's not. It's not. That's the thing. He's using the word if, right, as like a logical baking in, like a get out of jail free card. So that later on he's going to say, well, I didn't watch it and I was just assuming that that's the case. And this is like, he's baking in the get out of jail free card. He's just making it up.
I just don't see, if it's going to be that again.
But it's not. If it's going to be that again, it's not. There is no indication of that being the case. I apologize to you. You accepted my apology. I don't know what to fucking do. What do I do in this instance? Like, am I not allowed to criticize you anymore? Like, what is, what?
Right?
It wasn't last time, and she had critiques, so who knows? I don't know. That's just my view. It's just that she would be...
So Mark Monkey's trying to just end the segment because it's like, I got other questions here. Let's move on. But then here's a little golden nugget.
I say that again. I don't mean the conversation. I just mean that's if this is just going to be the pattern, that whenever I say something she doesn't like, right, she's going to put out a video that's like, Ben Burgis is a despicable piece of shit.
I never put that video out. I never did that. I never made that video. I never made that. That video does not exist. Go look for it. I'd love to see it, Ben. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this video? Where is the video? I would love to see it. You would need some sort of like quantum machine that can view like the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics to find an alternate universe, not this one, but another universe that had like a branch off point after our conversation where I did make that video. Otherwise, that's not the universe we are inhabiting. This isn't the real world.
Then like that's not somebody I particularly want to talk to, even if there's a Jekyll and Hyde transformation where the actual conversation happens.
A Jekyll and Hyde transformation. I don't know what the fuck that means. What? He has made this up. This is completely fictitious. This is fake news. I don't know what to say. This is fake fucking news. Or fake news. I'm sorry. My apologies. Anyway, I go on. Once again, I am sorry to Ben Burgis for traumatizing you when you see me pop up, but I do think you should know what areas you're weak on and learn from people with more experience in them, whether intentionally or not, and I do believe it's not on purpose. You did make mistakes. So Ben Burgis responds to this thread. What I find despicable is the claim in your title. So he is saying, he is using the term despicable against me. I never used the term despicable against him. That I'd somehow promoted transphobic conspiracy theories. I've had too much coffee and I've been talking too long. There's a galaxy of difference between your week on the subject and that. That's something you'd only say if you intended to permanently burn every bridge with me. Now again, I didn't say that. He is misreading something. I didn't say he promoted the I said he was on the show and Joe was promoting transphobic conspiracy theories and that he did a really bad job of countering them, which is de facto promoting them. Now again, am I saying he said those things? No. But if someone says a bunch of racist shit and I'm in the same room and I don't say anything to them, right? I'm kind of enabling that behavior. If someone lies about someone else in the same room with me and I don't correct them, I'm kind of enabling that behavior. And so that's my problem with this. It's like, what? Anyway, I respond. I disagree personally. I think you definitely did promote them in the context of Joe Rogan's show. And I don't think that means you're a bad person in the same way that Dave Chappelle can promote bad conspiracies and you don't think he's a bad person. Apologies for the miscommunication. Then he says, you really can't put something like that in a title and try to do context and nuance later. Huh? Well, first of all, I can. I didn't in this instance. I did not do that. But I could. I could. It is physically possible to do so. But also, like what does that even mean? Please understand titles are only 100 characters, but I also make it very clear I don't hate you, and I don't think my audience is dumb enough to react to things, I said things, just based on titles. And also titles are supposed to be clickbaity in our modern world. Have you never done the same? He has done the same. I mean, like his book. He literally, in the same interview with Mark Monkey, said his book is called, like, Canceling Comedians While the World Burns, because he wanted a provocative title, and that, like, he doesn't actually think cancel culture is the biggest thing, but he knew that that would draw. So he literally wrote a book called Canceling Comedians While the World Burns, admits that that's really not what the book is about, but he just used that as a catchy clickbaity title to get people to buy his book. So he literally did that with his book. He used clickbait with his book. I'm just saying. That's what he did. But okay. There's degrees of clickbait. No, I've never put out anything even close to that, and certainly not about a leftist. I mean, you called me you said that I don't know, like, you were lying about me. I'm a leftist. I don't know. I remember telling you before, I thought you and I started over the things you said about me before were things I wouldn't even say about people I truly hated. I don't even, like, what does that even mean? This is such a fantastical notion. And that's true, but I was still shocked to see that. Dumb is a shit fuck. I don't know. Like, have you ever spoken to a poor person? I don't know. Where I'm from, poor people like to swear. I don't know. I think it's a little uppity to say that swearing is, like, somehow deeply offensive. I'm not quite sure if that applies here. I try not to insult you directly at all, unless this is just in reference to the title still. The title is All I've Seen. He admits that he hasn't even seen the video again. I was pretty shocked by it. Even by the standard of what you said before, I really couldn't believe it. I don't think you're a bad person. I've seen you say smart, interesting things. Oh, thank you so much. I know your heart is in the right place, but throwing around stuff like that, this casually feeds into some of the worst things about the left. And I guess you probably don't care what I think, but for the record, I really do hope you evolve into a different approach in the future. I did. Like, this is like if you would have told me this conversation happened before our January 6th talk, I would have been like, oh, okay. This is him, like, this is me apologizing. Why do I have to apologize a second time for something he already admitted was okay and he already came up? I just don't. By the way, would you be willing to watch the video now or acknowledge? Oh, missing context is I changed the title here. That's in another tweet in the thread here. I'm happy to acknowledge any mistakes and try to correct them in the future. I do very much stand by thinking the general approach, friendly conversation focused on a pitch to normies who like him to appeal to socialist policies, exposing disagree. So his opinion was basically, I don't want to get involved in the trans stuff because I want to kind of pitch Jacobin to normies. Okay, that's your strategy. But why, like, you have to understand, trans people might be a little upset with that. What that is basically saying is, I think trans people are a little bit of a hot topic. I don't want to touch it. Even if he brings it up, I don't want to touch it too much. Okay, if you think that that's a strategy that might bring people to the left, okay, I accept that that's a strategy. But you have to accept that when a trans person sees you kind of just like nod along and say, I think you know more about trans things than I do, that hurts. That you view our fight and struggle for civil rights as expendable in some broader socialist future. I'm offended by that. I'm allowed to be offended by that as a trans person. And again, he is saying that anyone that thinks he's saying that my criticism is idiotic. I have to be an idiot to have my opinion, even though he doesn't know what my opinion is, and he just made up what he thinks my opinion is. Anyway, a bunch of people respond to him. I love this comment here. I love how Burgess's engagement with critiques, warranted or otherwise, in this exchange depends entirely on his own nebulous concept of civility politics, and anyone who doesn't hold to his personal standards can just be ignored. I think that, we're just rehashing the same thing, but this was a bizarre exchange. Like, I feel like I'm on drugs a lot, but I feel like me being consistently on drugs that produce miscommunications with reality, I think still Ben Burgis is more disconnected from reality in this exchange. And it's weird. It's strange. Like, I feel like I'm on fucking Venus or Neptune or something. Like, I crash landed in a different world. Like, one, the idea that dumb as a shit fuck is some uniquely evil thing. Oh my god, did you hear what they said about me? They said I was dumb as a shit fuck. Again, I already apologized for that, and I stopped doing that. In any of my later videos, I take a different approach, and he still doesn't give a fuck. I don't know, man. I would recommend watching his complete talk with Mark Monkey as well. I honestly did not finish it yet, so I might make another follow-up because I know that there's 2 hours of content here, and I only got through the first hour, and then I got interrupted. I would love the trip with Ben Burgis. That would be great. But anyway, we just disagree. But instead of us discussing this disagreement, he wants to discuss some fantasy narrative about something that I may have said that he doesn't know that I said, but I might have said it. It's possible. If you use a quantum time machine to view other universes within the many worlds theory, that I may have said that in another world. But that's not the world we're living in. I don't know why. And again, it's hypocritical. Now, I know hypocrisy shaming is not a good strategy, especially when talking about the right, but Ben Burgis considers himself a socialist and a leftist. So yeah, I will hypocrisy shame. I, as a trans person, am not allowed to call Dave Chappelle transphobic because, but there's the whole story. It's 30-minute story he told within the hour-long special. You gotta watch the whole story. You took him out of context. Me, he didn't even take me out of context. He just made it up. He just made it up. There was no even clip out of context. There was no context. He just made it up. He just made up what I said in whole cloth and pretended that's what I said and argued with that. And now again, could my title have been better worded? Maybe. I changed the title for his benefit. And he said thank you. And this thread is a little hard to follow, but he did say thank you for me changing the title. But I mean, this shit's weird, man. This shit's weird. It's weird. I have never had a more bizarre interaction with another, leftist content creator or whatever. I have never had this much of a bizarre interaction with someone online. This takes the cake, man. This is some weird shit. So anyway, he's probably not going to watch this video because, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the title is. Should we come up with a title live on stream? What should this video be called? Like, bizarre! Ben Burgis creates fan fiction about, you know, a comedian and then, like, argues with the fan fiction. I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, what should I say, like, should the title be YouTube streamer Andrea Rovenski has small critique against Ben Burgis, author of, like, should I make the title as banal as possible? Like, what should, like, because he's not going to watch the video, so what should I make the title? How can I sum up this? I don't know, but it's weird. This is a weird interaction I'm having with Ben Burgis. And again, I used to like Ben Burgis. I would like to say I still like him. I hope. Maybe. But this is fucking weird. Like, this is weird. I really, like, how, like, I can't wrap my mind around how humans can behave in this fashion. I just can't. I just think it's utterly bizarre. Anyway, you can go back and watch my video of his, of my critique of his Joe Rogan appearance. I had multiple critiques. And I'm going to try to get through the rest of the Mark Monkey, show that he did, but that was 2 hours, so I, had to do it in 2 parts. But maybe I'll have more to say tomorrow about what else he said on Mark Monkey's show. And also go watch Mark Monkey's, show with me. There was a couple of weeks ago. That was a good ep. There you go. Oh, Zeke, don't worry. I saw that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I told you I saw it. I told you. I mean, I think I responded to you.
Dumb as a shit fuck, you know, cringe tour, etc., etc.
There you go. I don't know. Anyway,